I'm your host, Jahze Yvette, and this is Too Many Opinions. I'm sitting with my guests, Rhea and Nyla Symoneee, and this is I'm Confident in the Skin I'm In. So guys, how are you guys? How y'all doing? I'm so excited to have y'all on the show. How y'all been?
Good.
Super good.
Happy
Super
to be
good.
here, yeah.
So I'm bringing y'all on this segment because I think both of you, first of all, speak really well and y'all both have experience in this topic. So I want to go to the first clip and let y'all see what we're going to talk about.
Let's do it.
You are a garbage individual. You have no soul.
Thanks, Kim.
The fact that you will sit up here and act as if you are the victim, you are the reason that women cannot come forward with sexual assault and sexual misconduct allegations. Because you sit up here with your privileged, white-looking ass and you think you can say whatever the you want to say, and no one is going to bat an eyelash.
Wait. Okay.
Great.
That's a little far.
No, it's not.
No,
it
too
isn't.
far. It is.
No, it
too
isn't.
far. Way too far.
No, it isn't. Your proximity to whiteness helps you to be able to sit up here and tell these lies.
You cannot sit here and call her white privilege when she's a black female. What is wrong with y'all?
It's the colorism issue that we just talked about, and you're still reintroducing into this group.
Let's call Wikipedia.
Ladies, so we're in 2023, and I feel like colorism is still such a big issue. Just by listening to this clip alone, you could tell, first of all, Candace has a white husband, so it's a lot of internal issues I feel like that she's going through. But I also feel like, why as not only colored people, but we already face so much, why are we attacking each other? Can y'all speak on what y'all just saw?
This is part two of
the reunion.
I missed this one. I'm like, I don't remember seeing this.
I said I didn't see this episode.
I think, I'm a fan of Giselle, honestly, so I hate that she got attacked like that. But I do think that there's colorism on both sides. I think darker women feel a way that light-skinned women have privilege because some are white passing. And then I think some light-skinned women think that they may be better than dark-skinned women because of the narrative that are, what's it called? The people who have structured us to be like this.
Correct.
I want to call them. What am I trying to call them? Not the... What are they called? Colonizers. The colonizers have embedded this white is right thinking. Yeah. And I think because of that, it just destroyed our community. But I don't think all of us are like that. You know what I mean? Like some people are a little more cultured and have experienced things and don't feel like that. But it is definitely a thing. But it's what you subscribe to. You don't have to subscribe to that thinking.
So being a light-skinned woman, Rhea, have you ever experienced colorism on your end? I mean, I know me and you have a great relationship. We go back almost 10 years, and I know your parents are fair-skinned, but you
they're white. No, they're
white.
They're 100%
They're white. Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure.
White.
I just want to make sure I say the right thing.
Fair-skinned, but they are white. I tell them they got soul, so they chocolate on the inside.
Right. But as a woman that has adapted to our culture, being black and white, do you feel like you have to almost like defend yourself or defend your white side and your black side?
Actually, no. So one thing I totally agree with what Nyla said, and then to throw it on the whole opposite spectrum, in the bigger picture of it all, people see color. I've never seen color, and I was raised to see love. So, like, to me, I feel it's just how people perceive things. Like, especially nowadays, people are way too sensitive. Being an athlete, I have a thicker skin, so we take trash talk, we take, everything that's going on. Shout out to Angel Reese, LSU, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, girl. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That whole crew, but like, for real, like, we trash talk and whatever, and you gotta be able to take it. The sticks and stones may break my bones, words will never hurt me. Right. I don't understand why people need to put that in the forefront and then compete with each other against it. And then now, because I'm not as good as you, let's throw in color. Let's throw in other factors and make it something bigger. No. Honestly, like, that's what makes this world diverse, and like why I love New York, and what I love about the world is we're all different. That's what makes us amazing. Why would I want to look like you and be like you?
Right.
Or even if I hate on you, I don't have that. I would love to have that. But hey, my body can't do that. It's okay. So love yourself. The problem is people don't love themselves, and they're not either shown love or they don't know how to appreciate and receive it. So.
But what about if you do love yourself, and then I could go back to so many cases of us being at the club and we're lighter skinned and we're pretty or whatever they label us as, and then there's a darker skinned woman that they're not even allowing in. I know I've seen seen it.
Oh,
and I know if you've seen it too.
So it happened to me several times. I remember, I'll even shout it out. It was Greenhouse. I remember I was bringing in my best friend and she's darker skinned. And she's literally like my cousin. I call her family. We grew up playing basketball together. And I remember they wouldn't let her in. And either it was like maybe because of her looks, but also because she was darker skinned. Mm-hmm. And not I've only seen that and I've heard that. I mean, I feel like it's horrible. It's unfortunate. And like the fact that this is still reoccurring and it's getting worse now, especially with the social platforms and people are seeing it now. More people are jumping on bandwagons. I'm on this side. That like it's crazy.
But y'all can see
me.
where she comes from then, if that is the case. I mean, not to say Giselle used any of her looks, but how society can almost have women like Giselle that are fair skinned with light eyes.
Oh, for sure.
Let them in the door a little bit quicker than they would someone like Candace.
Well, think slave times,
Yeah, I don't see where she's coming from because what she did was just project. Like she's mad, and then she also just brought in that she's light skinned. I think that Giselle might have an advantage in some instances because she's light-skinned, but I don't think the two correlate to what she was talking about.
And it doesn't take away that she's still a black woman.
Yeah, which is why it just discredits everything she said.
Yeah. So it's just to throw insults and it's just to try to like, you know what I'm saying, stir the pot and do whatever you can do to deteriorate from what's actually you're talking about, you know?
And you know what, something was so interesting with her too is that she has a white husband. So Candace, like the way that she's speaking almost kind of throws me off because it's like, how do you make your husband feel at the end of the day?
Candace is the one that was yelling at Giselle?
Yes. And
has a white husband?
And her white husband was sitting behind her on the film. You didn't see him?
Oh, I thought that was the other girl's husband.
No, that's her husband. So that also kind of threw me off in the aspect of, does she really want to be Giselle? You know what I mean? In the sense that like, she's so angry at her, but if you have a baby with this man, your child's going to come out looking exactly like Giselle. So it's kind of like one of those perspectives for me. I do want to go to my first opinionator. Her name's Tasha_26. She said, I'm sure Candace's future kids are going to have the same white-looking privilege that she referenced about Giselle. Are you going to shame your kids about their complexion? The same way you shame Giselle? Candace's language in the moment is hypocritical, inflammatory, and disgusting. To bring up her skin color was baseless and tactless. Had Giselle even uttered those words to Candace, her job wouldn't have been on the line and the public wouldn't have came for her neck. Talk to me, sis. Because I just spoke on that. I just said, like, she's going to have light-skinned kids one day. You going to attack them?
Correct. I didn't agree with Candace's statement with regards to Giselle. I thought that she was being very disrespectful and her words were very inflammatory, especially coming from the heels of the colorism conversation that they had previously that was spearheaded by Candace. And they all agreed that they were more cognizant of what they were saying towards each other. So coming from that, going to that particular segment, I just think that it was very disrespectful. And if the tables were turned and Giselle had said anything remotely as disrespectful to Candace about her skin complexion, I think that that would have been a lot of backlash and repercussions. And as I mentioned in my comment, if Candace have kids, her kids are going to look like Giselle. They're going to have that privilege that Giselle has, that Candace thinks, that she's saying. And she's also married to privilege, a white male. So my question that I was having, I'm like, if she was to get into a conflict with her husband or with her children, are you going to immediately throw in the race card or throw in their skin complexion? I just want to know like how she will handle that conflict. And it seems like she's had some issues in the past, probably with lighter skinned people, to why she felt like that. But I just think in that moment, I think Candace was gaslighting a little bit. And as the commenter said, that she was projecting. And I didn't enjoy her comment.
I think she really actually made a really good point that if it was reverse roles, how would this actually be? If she was, Giselle was speaking to her like, you a dark-skinned girl, going off on her about her being dark-skinned, how would they would have came at Giselle? And I think that's like a really great question. You know what I mean? What do you guys think if the roles were reversed?
Oh, for sure. I mean, even in that situation, if the roles were reversed, but even I was just thinking about what if she had a black husband, say he was an athlete or he was a billionaire, a tech guy, or you know what I'm saying? And he was on that side. Would it still be the same? Would you throw that comment out there if your husband, even if you were rich and whatever your situation is, because it's Housewives, right? But like, even if your husband was that, but if he was black, would you have said the same thing? So I was just thinking, I'm like, no, you probably wouldn't. But you wanted to take a shot at the husband and at her and all that other stuff. So of course, if she's married to a white guy, it's white privilege.
And I think it's kind of weird too that she, like, what does your husband say at the end of the fucking night? Like, what is it? Like, do he go and like, I can't believe you said that, you hurt my feelings. Like, what is it? Because you just, the way you spoke is almost like you shitting on him at the same time.
Right.
If you're telling her she got privilege, I can only imagine what you think he got. So I do want to go to my next opinionator. His comment is actually really long, so I'm only going to read like the first 2 sentences. But spilling tea with JB said, I can't even watch this because honestly, it's pitting people against each other. I now see that a lot of people are saying that light-skinned people cannot speak on colorism, and it's disturbing. My mother is a very fair-skinned, and I have seen her be bullied. My brother, too. I have been bullied because of it. She got treated extremely bad by whites and black people, and she's the least problematic person when it comes to people that's very quiet and tolerating this mistreatment. She had women come to her and say, I didn't like you because I thought that you were better than me. Speak to me about that. You feel like light-skinned women have it harder than black women or dark-skinned women?
So I don't think they had it harder, right? So I just think it's a divisive conversation because growing up with a very fair-skinned mother, I've seen her get mistreated by dark-skinned women, and they always assumed that she thought that they were better than them, but she actually had mad insecurities. So seeing your mom have these insecurities of talking about she wants to be darker, wishing she was darker because she was mistreated. I mean, I lived in a predominantly black neighborhood, so we caught it from all ends. But then you go and work for the white man, no shade, and she's mistreated by them. She's still. It doesn't matter if you're a field slave or a house slave, you're still a slave in their eyes, and they don't like that. They know who's black and they know who's white. And even yesterday, I got into a discussion with her about it. And I said to her that she's considered white passing, and she went off on me because she's a black woman. You know what I'm saying? And I had to tell her, I was like, Mom, I'm not saying, that you are, but growing up, I knew nothing but a black woman, but dark-skinned women do see her as white passing, but she's not. She's not at all.
Do you guys agree with him? Do you feel like, when it comes to, I'm going to speak to you as a darker skinned woman, do you find, when you look at a light skinned woman that they think that they better, or you don't get those energies? It's just people in general.
I think maybe when I was younger, I might have felt like that, but I think it was more so just ignorance. And at the time I was operating at the level of consciousness that I was at when it came to like my perception of color. But I think, I don't know, it definitely is a thing like everybody has to deal with the hand that they're dealt. So it's like whether I'm dark, I'm not even really dark skin. I'm like brown. You know what I mean? So I feel like I had somebody tell me one time, like, you have your skin, you have a passing skin tone. And I was just like, I don't even know what the hell that means. Like,
that's crazy.
Okay, cool. Thanks, I guess. I think it's supposed to be a compliment. Like, I should be honored that I'm not too dark or not too light. But it's like, it's unfortunate. It's a thing, but as long as you as an individual treat other people by character and not by color, then...
Oh, I agree, 100%.
I was going to say, to me, I think the only time I really felt it was when I was a kid. So, when I was a kid, the little short red girls with the long hair was like, oh, she pretty. And I was like the tall, skinny one, a little brown tone. My hair was broken off. So it was always like that.
Not the hair was broken up.
little Chi-Chi hairstyle.
So silly.
And I didn't want to say that anybody provoked me, but it almost made me be like, why are they the pretty ones? It made me question myself because other people's perception or reality of what they like, I thought that I didn't fall in that box. Okay, this guy didn't like me, so I must be ugly. And I think that's kind of what maybe a lot of darker skinned women may go through because they push out this agenda that, lighter women are exotic. And if they got light eyes, they're the gorgeous ones. And I hear that. I hear it from men all the time. And I think us as women, sometimes we go through that phase where we listen to what men say and then look at ourselves in the mirror and be like, man, I don't look like that.
Well, I agree with you. Being the mixed girl, I am half white, I'm half Irish, quarter black, quarter Native American. So I love that I have the best of both worlds. My parents, when I was a kid, told me, hey, you have the best of both worlds. So I've appreciated sides. But in reality, when you guys both said it was kids, that's funny because now I remember playing basketball growing up, and I went, my parents are white. I was adopted at 2 months old, so my whole family's white. So I remember going to private school and all this, but then I played basketball. So I was on the hood team for my AAU team. team. I was on like the Catholic girls team.
Right.
And like I remember being on both teams. Like the white girls would always be like, "Yo, what's up? What's up?" And I'm like, "What?"
No.
And then I'd be on the black girl team and they call me Becky, and they'd be like, "Yo, Becky," and I'd be like, "What the?" Like, and it was crazy. So like. But I love, like, once again, growing up in New York because, like, it was a melting pot. So when you had said that just now, it made me reflect. Maybe it had to do with, like, appearances and looks, and that's what you're insecure about.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting here, it has nothing to do with color. It has to do with your appearance. Like, I want to look like her. I want to look like that. Because I'm like...
Because of the reactions of other people and how they're reacting to you.
Like, my black friends would be like, "Oh, you ain't see Juice or you ain't see Boys in the Hood. You ain't black enough." And I'm like, what? No, my parents did not watch me watching violence.
They did not let you watch that shit.
There's two different things. Not because I'm not black enough.
Oh,
That's
my God,
funny.
it's so funny. So I do want to go on to this next clip. It's actually from, well, my Uncle Charlemagne and DJ Envy spoke on this. Logic was with his father, and he said the N-word. Now, Logic, you know, guys, he's more on the fair side of the things, but he has a black dad. So let's listen to this.
He's a rapper. He signed to Def Jam. Him and Charlemagne went back and forth at one time. He doesn't like Charlemagne. I think he likes Charlemagne now, right? Y'all cool now? Or you don't know?
I don't care. I don't know.
Well, he's trending again, and this is because he was with his dad, and this is what he said when he was with his dad.
Hey, Daddy, what you got to say to the world?
Hey, what's going on? It's time to go night-night.
If you had advice for anybody out there, what would it be, Dad?
Keep it real.
Keep it real all the time, nigga. You already know what it is.
When keeping it real goes wrong, you're in a hell of a lot of trouble.
Say what? That's that Chappelle.
What they mad at him for? I didn't hear anything.
He said the N-word.
He's half black.
Right, but people are saying that he shouldn't be saying the N-word. I guess he identifies. I don't know. I don't listen
if you're not mad at Drake, Drake is biracial. He says the N-word. J. Cole is biracial. He says the N-word. Logic is biracial. He says the N-word. The reality is all of them should only be saying nig. They should only, if you're biracial, I'm saying, if you're only half black, you should only be saying nig. You shouldn't be saying the word at all. I'm trying not to say it anymore at all. And I'm 100% black, 97% West African, by the way. But if you're going to say it as a biracial, you should only say half of it.
Funny,
He's
Nick.
so funny.
So, but do you agree with him in a sense? I mean, if you have black, have white, only say nig? Like, or first of all, you shouldn't say the word at all. But is it something that you have to kind of be conscious of? I guess, and I'm asking this to you, Rhea, being half black, half white. Do you have to be conscious at all times when you're around your black friends and then when you're around your white friends?
Nigga, listen, I say it all the time, okay? But like in reality, I just had a conversation with my friend about this the other day. It's like when I heard her perspective, I actually listened because I'm like, I get it. Goes back to slave times. This is derogatory. All these other things. But I'm like, is it if you let it affect you? Because I'm like, we joke about it all the time, like, but it's like in a calling or passing, like instead of like my brother, what's up? Like, oh, what's up, my nigga? Like that, you know what I'm saying? I'm not thinking of it, is it derogatory? Like, but that's your perception of how you think of it. So that's your mind frame and your mindset. Like, that's sad to me.
Right.
Because it's like, I'm saying something to you and only you could take that to heart. So it's like the fact that now it's on a bigger picture. Oh yeah, I agree. I'm just like, bro, get over it. Like, yes, that happened in the past. Things have happened. Especially life-changing, altering, slavery, all these things that we still go through today in this time that we're still seeing. And before, because of social media platforms, we're able to actually see it in real time.
Comment and have your opinions.
Now, like, I get it. So the uproar and the comments and this and that is even far more, like, insane than I've ever thought because of how people think they can comment and talk about things and actually have no insight or input in it.
And I go back to what you're saying, too. I think it's a parents thing because we so comfortable with Drake saying it. We're so comfortable with J. Cole saying it. But in all reality, they have white moms. They have white mothers at the end of the day. Nyla, come on, talk to me. What do you think?
To be completely honest with you, before I moved to New York, I thought nobody but black people should be able to say it. But then
I felt the same way.
When I got here, everybody says it. There's Chinese kids on the bus saying nigga. I got Spanish people around me saying nigga. So I realized, like, I can't fight everybody, nor was I going to fight anybody over it. But it's just like, New York is just a different world. If I had it my way, I would prefer only black people saying it. If you're half black, half white, you could say it. I think it's dumb.
Say nig.
You don't even gotta say nig. You can say, like, because you're a product of your environment. So I'm sure his dad is saying nigga. So he hears his dad saying nigga, he gonna say it too. But yeah, to me personally, how I grew up, I didn't see, anybody that was not black saying nigga, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
They would get mad.
And I'm the same way. I mean, being born in the South, New Orleans, it was a major thing to have anybody outside of it say that word. I came to New York, and all I saw was a bunch of Spanish people. What's up, man? I'm like, what you mean?
We put an A at it. We don't put the ER. So technically, if we're going to go there, we'll get another conversation about
that's
the
weird.
A at the end or the ER.
That's very true.
That's a whole nother nother show.
A whole nother show.
It is.
But like you said, I go back to saying I had to calm it down.
I had to adjust. Yeah,
and
I'm like,
adjust.
all right, this isn't offensive.
Yeah.
This isn't. They coming from a place of relate to you.
And if I don't want nobody to call me that, I shouldn't use the word. I go back to what Charlamagne said. If you are offended by the word, do you?
I guess. I guess. I'm still working on that too then.
I want to go to my first opinionator, Paul 05 FUBH. He said there's a difference between Drake and Logic. Drake wasn't passing for white and only embraced the white side of his leisure. Logic chose white. He benefits from white privilege, and more annoying, he panders to black people. The biggest difference is Drake's music is actually good, so we excuse all the other politics. Talk
Not
to me.
him pandering the music.
That's crazy. Go ahead, I'm listening, black man.
Pandering.
Sir.
Good afternoon, y'all. Yeah, pretty much in the case with Logic. First, let me just start off by saying that hold on, I got my notes here. In the case of the N-word, right? Like, what makes the N-word so unique and the nuance to that word is that it connects Black people through a shared struggle, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? We have shared trauma through that word. You know what I'm saying? The issue with Logic doing it, and it's not so much that he can't use the word, it's that you can tell he's not used to using that word. You know what I'm saying? The way he says it, the way he sounds saying it, you know what I'm saying? And the biggest thing of it all, the way he looks, you know what I'm saying? There's just nothing that he has done or said that proves to me that he shared the same experience as me. So it's weird when you hear him use that word. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's not like me saying it's not that he's not entitled to use the word. It's just that, so it's like, not to get off on a rail, but like in Black Panther, you know what I'm saying? In order to get into Wakanda, you have to show the tattoo on your lip, right? You know what I'm saying? He has that, but it's like he keeps showing us to prove that I belong here. Like, we get it. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to do it. And when it comes to Drake, you know what I'm saying? Drake, he doesn't look as white as Logic, and he doesn't go through the extraness of trying to prove to us that he's Black. We know he's Black. We've seen his father, and the biggest thing of it all, Logic music sucks. You know what I'm saying? If he had slaps, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I didn't write the rules. That's just how it is. You know what I'm saying?
That okay.
And we've seen his father too, so his father's Black.
You
so
pretty much said that
because his music is bad, he
said that Logic looks like he's adding an ER, and that offends you because he looks like he's adding an ER. It's essentially what you
not because he said it,
Not
because he looks
the
it.
ER.
Like, yeah, no.
Well, I have a question for you, you guys. Do you think though, like, and again, Rhea, I know you are yourself 100% across the board, but like he said, is there a thing with mixed people that they choose to pick their white side when it's time, and then they choose to pick their black side when it's time? Is that a reality? Is that a real thing? What he's saying?
I mean, I've never seen it personally in the sense, like, I either have friends that are mixed that either don't know their black side or their white side. Like, once again, I was fortunate because my parents, I had a white side. Like, I would joke. Like, even if I was sitting at the table talking, I'd be like, yo, what's up? And they'd be like, you don't talk like that in school. And I'm like, no, like, but there was a time and a place for it. But it's the same thing. I don't call it white or black. I call it professionalism or educated. That's it. Like, the fact that you keep putting colorism and labels on these things is what makes it that. Like, literally, I was educated, so I speak properly. That's it. Not because I was in the hood. I hung out in the hood, the projects. I dated gangbangers.
Right.
I was one of his mom. Listen, you don't know that.
Don't watch this.
Yeah, don't watch this. She doesn't know that, But like, still, like, reality. Like, I hung out in the projects all the time with my friends.
Right.
To me, that's why I'm sitting here. I'm like, I don't understand why people keep putting that label on it, unless to me you weren't shown love. So
Right.
like, that's the only reason why. Because in the end of the day, it's people putting labels on it. It's not the actual label.
And I know it. And again, I know this is your experience, but I have seen like a few of my mixed friends, when it's time to use that card, they gonna use that card. You know what I mean? Like,
I think,
you know what I mean. But then at the same time, I do also see like they embrace their black side more. I don't know if it's a cooler thing, if they feel more comfortable in that space, or what it is. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I want to go back to saying, I love all races, but when you're down in the South, you may say some little, racist things. And when you have a mixed friend and you say something that might be racist, now they're defending the white side. Should they defend the white side even if they're playing that black role all the time? Because I've gotten into it with a few of my mixed friends. Like,
I feel like not to say that sometimes I feel bad for mixed people, but sometimes I do feel bad because I could tell that society confuses them, so then they be confused. If that makes sense.
For sure.
So like I have some friends and I'm like, damn, it ain't even your fault. Like I can see that you're just really conflicted. You know what I mean?
Part, seriously.
Like it really makes me feel bad.
Yeah.
Because your mom is white. At the end of the day, you talking about my mom, you talking about white people, but at the same time, I connect more to my dad's side of the family, which is black.
I have white friends and I'm very pro-black. You know what I mean? And I talk how I talk, and they honestly understand where I'm coming from when I talk, which is why we are friends. Like, you know, because I think it's not coming from a place of like maliciousness or anything like that. So I don't think your friend, as long as what you saying is not coming from a place of maliciousness, then she shouldn't.
It's about about respect too. I think, and I go back to what you said, and you had a conversation about this. Yeah, it's probably about educating each other as well. Yeah. This is what I'm doing right now on this platform. I'm hoping to educate people that, you know, dark-skinned women go through things and light-skinned women go through things. Mixed people go through things, trying to figure out their identity on which side to like lean and go towards.
I realized that in my recent years after reading. I read this book. She's the first black editor of Vogue. What's her name?
I know who you're talking about.
I know who you're talking about too.
Man, that book, I was really thought it was gonna put me up to like fashion and stuff. It was all about. She lives
in Harlem with her husband.
It was all about being mixed. The whole thing was a mixed struggle every chapter, and I was like, all right, I didn't finish the book.
But speaking of fashion with that, like that's the biggest thing. But if you took what we're saying into clothes, and I dressed more hip hoppy, would I be labeled that? If I dress in suits all the time, would I be a white girl?
Yeah.
Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like the same thing that you're putting on colorism is the same thing if you would have put on fashion. If I started wearing little tight, skimpy outfits, you'd be like, oh, she a hoe. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I just dress like this and it's cute. No, she's either sexy, she's a hoe, you think she's
doing
cute.
something.
She's doing like there's all those other opinions. So it's the same thing if you relate it even onto that level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Too many opinions.
Too many motherfucking opinions. And that is the damn truth. Let's go to my next opinionator, DJ Legs Diamond DMV, baby. He got a long Instagram name.
DMV.
His father's black. What's the issue again? Come on, talk to me. So you think if the father's black is a pass, but if the father's white is not? Or you just, what is your thoughts?
I mean, for me, it's more so, you know, I think it's more so because of the way he looks. You know what I'm saying? Like if he looked more black, you know, people pick at him or whatever. But yeah, if you got a black daddy, you black all day. So that's just my opinion. So as far as using the N-word, you know, code switching is a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you go into certain, when I have on my IT hat, am I going to use the N-word? Absolutely not. When I'm on the street, you know, with people, whatever, I use the N-word. As far as light-skinned people, black-skinned people, when you from DC, I'm originally from DC, you have to know how to joan or snap or whatever. I mess with the Beige Brigade all the time. I just make up names just for a comfort thing. Like sometimes use comedy as a form of therapy. So, you know, it's just, I don't know. It just depends on, you know, who it is, who you're talking to. So it didn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. If a white person used it, you know, words are they have the meaning you give them. I don't care. I was just having a conversation with my son. I was like, if a white man called me a nigga, now I wouldn't, as much as you don't, sticks and stones, as y'all gonna come over here with no nonsense, doesn't matter to me. So I got hella snaps for them as well. So it just depends. So my son said he going to jail. I was like, I got bail money for you, but it ain't worth it.
Yeah, it's really not worth it. Words are one thing, but words can hurt. And some words could come from a very nasty, nasty place at the end of the day. I mean, we could sit here and say, oh, everybody can use nigga, but nigga was used to hurt people. Nigga was used to put certain people in a box. And I just want us to also know that. But I do want to go to this next clip. It's actually really interesting. I keep saying her name wrong, so y'all help me out. Yara Sadi. She played Tinkerbell.
Yara Shahidi?
Yeah, I knew my girl was gonna have my back. I couldn't say this girl name for nothing. She played Tinkerbell. Now, as you know, as kids, Tinkerbell was always white. You know, Tinkerbell with her little glitter and gold. And so she ended up getting the role, and people had a problem with her. They called it blackwashing, which I've never heard in my life. What are y'all thoughts? Have y'all ever heard of blackwashing? Do y'all?
Yeah, have you seen Oz? Do you remember Oz? And do you remember The Wiz?
LOL.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like the two things. Like, you know, remember Oz and then The Wiz. So
I've never heard of
same
blackwashing.
show,
I
just
never
a black
heard that
cast.
term, but that makes sense.
That does make sense when you say it like that. But do you believe, though, that it's changing the character? When you...
No, it's just appealing to a different audience.
But is that a good thing or a bad thing, though? I mean, if the original character was this, why are we trying to change or give a different perception
Well, Jesus is white now, right? But wasn't he really? We're not gonna go there. Okay.
Oh Lord, I don't go to the. We ain't doing
really want to
religion.
talk about it, Jazz? We ain't gonna go there. We got a little bit of time left.
Yeah.
She ain't lying.
I'm gonna go to my first opinionator. Actually, it's somebody that's really close to me. I love her to death, Miss Kim Hilton. She said the headline doesn't match what she's saying, though. She said we need our own movies, and she's right. Talk to me. Why do you think we need our own movies?
Hey, how are you doing? So the article, the post that was put up said that this woman was trying to say that she shouldn't, like she was anti Yara playing Tinkerbell. And what she actually said in the article, which people did not read, was that Black people need their own type of fairy tales. And I believe her. Like, yeah, you can put Yara in Tinkerbell, and I think that's cool, right? Because for a long time, Tinkerbell has always been this blonde hair, blue-eyed fairy that came and was trying to guide Peter Pan in the place that he needed to be. She was a hater, but anyway, I think that along with adding these characters to Disney, our kids need to see our own fairy tales. We need to be able to have, like, the princess in what was it? It was based in New Orleans too. You're gonna kill me, Jazz.
Yeah.
With Tiana, that first African American princess that they had blew up because so many young Black girls, like even myself, I had Cinderella, Snow White, all of those girls, and I had to kind of fit myself in that space and imagine that I could be that. But now they're giving it to us, but why don't we have our own fairy tales? These fairy tales are based in horror anyway. So I just think that we need to start creating our own fairy tales, our own stories, and giving our children something that they can automatically see themselves in.
I love that.
We're gonna call Tyler Perry for you, and we're gonna make that happen.
You feel what I'm saying?
Tyler Perry gonna make that happen.
So do y'all think she's hitting a point? We should just be making our own characters because we are actually bringing up stuff like this that's not even really worth it. You know what I mean? Talking about blackwash, now we just depicting and putting more things into our kid head to look at themselves and feel like they can't identify with.
I definitely think like Disney movies paint unrealistic expectations for life anyway. So I think I think that would be dope and better for the culture. But I'm not mad at it also. Like, let Yara get the check.
Right. And I think she's a cute goddamn Tinkerbell.
Yes.
She actually fits the role really, really well.
Yeah.
What were y'all thoughts when they did come out with the first Disney movie with Tiana on Princess and Frog? Do you think it was like, damn, it's time? Or do you know?
I feel like I lived in an era where progressively, like I'm 27, but each year I've always seen something. Like as a kid, we had Brandy. Like I wasn't ever like really deprived. Right. I feel like
Brandy
sure things were predominantly white, but I think it's always going to be like that.
They always
in America.
added something in there, a little spice.
I got Brandy. I had the Barbie covers, the pink one with the black girl on it.
Yeah.
Then
the Bratz dolls.
Obama in 06, you know what I mean? And then I got Princess and the Frog. So I feel like I've always been able to see it. And I honestly think now we're in an era where like, or maybe there's just enough conscious Black people where we do big up each other and we do embrace each other's
100%.
naturalness. So I think we're in a good
spot. So, I mean, I'm hearing what you're saying, but let me ask you this, Nyla. Like, do you feel like all the things that you've been able to see in the last 27 years, you letting me know, like, you've seen Black, you've seen it in your face, you've seen it in your movies. Why do us as a society try to make it seem like we don't see it? Because I feel like that's, even with this, talking about we don't see Black characters and, some of my opinionators saying we need new characters. We do see it. Yeah. It's just we don't acknowledge it or...
Well, it's probably they're not looking at it. Yeah. I think the things...
Or they want more.
Yeah, or they want more.
Like not just one movie. Like, why do they have 17 movies and 17 princesses and we have one?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. I do want to go to my next opinionator. Her name is I Only Speak T. She said, I agree. We deserve our own original Black Disney movies with the absence of having Black characters play an animal or a soul for most of the movies, such as Princess and the Frog. Soul in the movie about a brown boy turning into a bear. Our Black faces are beautiful and culturally rich. I wouldn't want Black Panther to be white because that just wouldn't make sense. Disney, let's go back to the drawing boards and create new characters. I def have some exciting thoughts if you're interested, but I agree with the comment. First of all, I want to hear your thoughts. What are your new movie ideas for Black people? And then expand on your opinion as well.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I do have a couple. I think one, we are ingrained in gospel and church and music, and I think that we should have a Disney movie that allows us to express that. I also have a Marvel idea with the sun and the moon warring with each other, and there's a sun princess, a melanated sun princess who ascends up to the sun to save the world because it's affecting us here at Earth. So I do have some, elaborate ideas, but just going back to Princess and the Frog, I think it's breadcrumbing in terms of their intentions with having a Black princess, but she's a frog most of the movie, and I just don't think it's an enriching representation of who we are, such as Lilo and Stitch. I stopped my daughter from watching that movie because there was DCF, or Child Protective Services, involved because the sisters, they clashed, the sister hit her. And even Moana and Pocahontas, they continuously denounce themselves as a princess, and they portray themselves as a strong Black girl, brown girl, who doesn't need that accolade, and they're rebellious, and they go out and they're adventurous, and then they need help at the end. I don't see that softness, that vulnerability in our children, and I don't think that that's fair for us as young Black women. I feel like if we're going to be at the forefront, they should allow us to have those roles, such as Cinderella and Snow White, not necessarily those characters, but just allow us to be have a different representation of who we are. I don't think that they're being fair. Yes, they have movies for us, but it's not in the same way as Tinkerbell. You don't look at her as a vulnerable, gentle young woman who's trying to save the world. It's always her being rebellious and just being strong and resistant.
She hit a really good point on this. What are your thoughts?
I think that's true, but I don't think we should be looking to Disney to give that to us. Like, I'm not going to go to the oppressors asking them to make changes where we are a people who are creative enough to make those changes if we really want to, if we put it together. That's why she said, call Tyler Perry. Like, we need to be giving Tyler these scripts. I don't even know if that's really Tyler Perry's lane. I think, he has his own thing.
He could go there. He could go there.
He could. But I think it's going to take time. Disney is like a strongly implemented,
the Walt Disney family in general. I'm about to say
within
the
America.
Family.
So we just don't need to be looking to Disney. We have to consciously choose not to look to Disney, and we got to look other places. Like, we got the Boondocks, we got Woman King. Like, we're starting to get them, but I think now having this discussion in regards to Disney is that we need to target the kids.
But I want to go back to...
Actually, before that, I know Michael Uwandi. I just worked with him. He helped produce with Jordan Brand and Zion's new shoe.
Wow.
He is a Marvel designer. So if we need to call somebody...
We can call him up.
Put him on. He does anime. He works for Marvel. He creates designs and all these other things. So we could call him and start our own cartoons.
I love that. But let me ask you guys this. So do you agree with her on the tip of we don't have soft movies portraying us? Like, as far as because the Boondocks isn't soft.
There's no girl lead in there. There's no girl lead in there. Yeah,
it's like she almost was saying like we don't have those soft, pretty princess roles that our daughters and our sons could look up to. Is always like, I gotta go through the fire, I gotta be tough, I gotta go through the swamps and so I do get her point when she says that, like, we really do need more movies.
What are they watching though? I was watching Sister. I was watching Moesha. What are y'all watching? What y'all watching? What's up cartoons y'all watching?
I agree with it, but I said earlier that I think Disney movies are a bad perception of reality for kids. Yeah. So I think even having the girl be soft, like, there's nothing wrong with being soft. I think Tiana was a good mix. She was hardworking and she was soft at the same time. But I think my thing is, at the end of the day, we still are Black people in a white-dominated world. So I don't want to paint the picture as in, okay, sweetheart, you're a princess, but,
you still got to go out there.
Your life is not their life.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about that.
And if we really do the numbers, by the way, minorities outweigh white or Caucasian if we really do numbers, just so y'all know. So like, that's the craziest thing to me. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Numbers, yes. Rhea just gave us a fact. I want to go to this next clip. Actually, it's a post. I'm going to read it out loud. I don't know if you know Jodie Turner. Turner Smith, she says, raising a biracial daughter is helping her heal, feeling about the colorism. Now that I've got this little light-skinned boss, I feel like the universe is teaching me a lesson. I'll go back to our first clip that we played, when you have someone like her that is very dark skinned. And again, a lot of people in these comments were saying, y'all really need to read the article, because people were like, you know, you're healing just because you had a daughter and you're healing now because she's fair skinned, like you should have been healing. But does it take sometimes for you to like sit in those moments to really understand both sides and both perspectives? Because that's what I'm getting from her. She met this man. She was pro-black. I want to be with a black man, but this white man came in her life and swept up off her feet, and she got her a light-skinned baby. You know, what are y'all thoughts on that? Because I mean, she's saying it's healing her. I think it's kind of weird.
I think it's good that it's healing her. People grow at their own pace. Some of us might understand before. Some people might not ever understand.
But why does you having a baby make you start healing towards colorism, though? You know, again, colorism is like you feel really deep towards how people view you and how the rest of the world view others. And she had a real issue with that.
Well, maybe because she is of her complexion, maybe she had issues with that. But a lot of people don't understand everything that we're talking about has to do with trauma. The only reason why you're triggered by all this is because of certain trauma. Either you've seen it or you've heard it and you're not able to deal with it, cope with it, and able to get on. Because if you can understand where people are come from, you have to understand that's their opinion.
Yeah.
Why does it bother you?
Yeah.
Like, no offense, like the other guy that he was like, oh, I have notes. I was like, bro, what are you doing all day? You should be like focused on, I don't know, crypto something, come up with a plan, a business plan. You're writing notes on something that has nothing to do with that. That's your opinion. That's his opinion.
Yeah.
Why do you care so much?
Yeah.
You took 2-3 hours to write notes about this?
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy.
This is crazy. It's crazy. I wonder how much when she did have her child too, did it affect her seeing when the baby came out, it was light skinned? Like, you know how sometimes when parents have kids and then like the kids come out, it's like, do I have a disconnect with the baby? Am I attached to the baby? I'm wondering if like she had an issue with that, and like would you have an issue with that if you were parents, or does that just get all the way wiped out when you have a baby? You know?
Yeah, that's half of me.
That's half of you.
That's me right there. I don't give a fuck what color it is. That's me.
It could be green, gray, or purple.
Yeah, like.
I want to go to my next opinionator, I_of horse4. I hope I'm saying this correctly. He said, are we all going to sit up here and pretend that we don't know that a lot of black women intentionally have children with non-black men because they want to have light-skinned babies?
That's true.
Let's talk about it.
That's true.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, baby.
All right. Personally, in my experience, I'm a very dark-skinned male. But in my travels and journeys dealing with the black community, I see colorism as something that really exists mostly in dark-skinned black women's minds. And I think it has a lot to do with beauty or the perception of beauty, because we may or may not see light-skinned people as more attractive. A lot of women have a desire to be seen as attractive. The reality is when they get older, they do look for non-black men or lighter skinned men to procreate with so that their child isn't left with the stigma that they had to grow up with. So this is a reality. Even with like lesbian black couples, there's a phenomenon within lesbian black couples where they actively seek out white sperm donors to have mixed breed children, right? So there's a whole book genre about black women sleeping with white men and having mixed babies. It's a romance genre within the black community. So we try to pretend we don't know this exists, but we all know that it's real and that our women are affected by it.
Not lying though. He is not. I'm sorry,
well,
but
we need more of me. Okay, we need more of me out here.
The only thing I didn't like that he said is that it lives in dark-skinned black women minds, as if like we chose that.
Yeah,
life.
that's what I didn't like either.
Like, no, yeah, it's a thing because the culture has made it a thing. It's
Absolutely.
not like dark-skinned black women get together and be like, all right, guys,
I hate everybody
we just want to fuck all the white men because we hate our skin complexion. Like, no, like Jahze said earlier, like she felt insecure because she's seen light-skinned women being picked over her if she's at the club or whatever the case may be. That's the thing. So you're thinking, you know what? Damn, I want to give my child a better shot. Maybe so they don't feel how I feel. Maybe I should procreate. And honestly, whose fault is that the women feel like that? Black men?
And let's go back. I was just going to say, he's saying black women go with light-skinned men, but these dark-skinned men, they going for
it was
the
only
lightest.
that line everything else you said
women
was fact.
out. I'm just saying, it goes both ways. Dark-skinned men all the time. I've seen it. I've seen it. I have a black man looking at me right now shaking his head. But I've seen it. They for some reason, they like the light-skinned women. They don't go
not even
for...
light-skinned, even more out of the race.
Right, even more out of the race.
races.
Even lighter. You know what I mean? They go for the white girls for real. You know? And then they shit on the black women. They're like, y'all too aggressive. Y'all too hard. Y'all not soft enough. Y'all don't know how to be submissive. And they will tell darker skin or black women this, and it goes straight to the white woman. You feel what I'm saying? So I can honestly feel what he's saying, but there's a different side of that too. Two sides to it. It's society. It goes back to what you said. It's fucking society.
I just don't like how everything was fact up until he said it lives in black women's head. Like, we just put that there. Like, what?
What? So let me ask y'all this on the final question. What are y'all thoughts completely over this whole entire topic? How do y'all want this to end? What would y'all tell other women that look like you and don't look like you, you know, if watching this? What would you tell them right now? About their skin tone, about their skin color.
First off, love yourself and be you. Accept who you are and what you are and where you come from and be proud of it and love it. Honestly, it has to do with loving yourself and where it, like...
You've been saying that the whole show.
100%. 100%. And like I said, like being mixed, being the product of exactly what we're talking about, best of both worlds, different sides, all of this. I've experienced it all and I would not change a thing. Like I love my life and I love who I am and I don't look at color. Like I don't, like my parents, I've adopted at 2 months older, fully white. I feel like they birthed me. Like and I met my parents on a TV show, my birth parents, on this TV show about 6 years ago. So I've met them in person.
That?
Nah, I'll tell you later. It's called Relative Race.
Wow.
So I met them in person. I'm one of 17. It's a crazy story. Like,
oh my God.
And we're all super mixed, super blended, super insanely mixed family. And I was raised on love. I was never raised on looking at color and taught. Like, it was friendly. Like my friends until I was 15 years old were like, so who's black then? And they met both of my parents. And they're like, because they could never tell. Because my parents were so cool. And they like my mom and my dad. And they're like, but how are you black? We don't like. And I'm like,
we know you mixed with something. You ain't just straight white.
I've been adopted since I was a kid. I've been told you this. And they're like, oh, yeah, we forgot. But funny. Once again, that just proves to me because of where and how I was raised and even meeting my birth parents and understanding like the life that I've lived. It's what my parents instilled in me.
I love
so
that.
half the time, I don't know who raised a lot of these people that where their mind frames and where they're going, but like I look at the bigger picture. I'm not sitting here labeling and doing it because that's not really what it is. Like you got to go the deeper root of what are you traumatized about and what in your environment affects you to do that. Because you could be the bigger person and you could look at it this way and not be affected by other people and keep your life moving and pushing, or you could sit there and be affected by what this person said and what they're doing, but I don't understand how that has to affect you unless it's physically like taxing on your life.
I love that.
So love yourself and spread love. There you go.
There you go, baby. What about you, Nyla? How you feel?
I love that. Definitely just love yourself. I think the more you love yourself, and I will say this, it does take time to learn to love yourself.
It does.
100%.
Yeah, like
it's not overnight.
Especially
overnight.
depending on where you were raised in your surroundings and society and what they put on you.
So growing up, your body, how your body changes,
woman,
your environments change 100%.
Yeah,
yes.
I want to say like I honestly probably really started loving myself at like 23.
Yeah, I woke up at like 26 and was like, oh, okay, I really like, because before I wasn't even focused on that. I agree.
So it takes time to love yourself, but once you crack that code, there's nothing nobody can tell you. Even being called a nigga. I've been called a nigga plenty of times by white people that are trying to get under my skin. It's just like, it just shows them like their own projection.
Exactly, and their insecurity. Like that's the lowest you could, good for you. Okay, you want a cookie? Which one?
And I go back to what both of y'all saying. I think it has everything to do with just being confident and loving you and your parents, telling you how beautiful you are every day, because I keep that from you and you. It's just like your environment, who you are surrounded by, and just loving your damn self.
100%.
Thank you, ladies. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
I am a black woman in every form, from the way that I carry myself, the way that this body curves, the texture of my hair, to the fullness of my lips, to even the warmth of my aura. I'm not light-skinned or dark-skinned, so my complex is complex. Because to be honest, everyone is beautiful. Every brown, red bone, chocolate, deep skin makes me smile brighter and makes my heart beam. To even have a piece of melanin in you, I declare it a blessing. So why are we talking about all these beautiful shades of brown and blackness again? Don't we have enough to deal with? While colorism is a reality that we face, my hope is that we can love, uplift each other so fiercely that our babies will see only the beauty within themselves and not be distracted by the color of their skin. Do I think that there's a stigma out there that light-skinned women have it easier? They are deemed the pretty ones? Or if you're a mixed race, you're exotic? Of course. But baby, I promise you something. You could be purple, gray, or green. If you are confident, has self-love, and a recognition of God's perfect design of you, that's what truly matters. No one preference can diminish your beauty unless you allow it. To my dark-skinned sisters, you are absolutely stunning. To my sisters with coarse, kinky hair, you are gorgeous. To my light-skinned, thick, red-bone sisters, you are radiant. To my short, long hair, thick hip sisters, you are stunning. And to my queens with shaved heads and it's giving face for days, you are beautiful beyond words. And oh, to my men, the light-skinned ones, you are handsome. And to my dark-skinned men with the white teeth, brother, you are bomb. And to my black men with a little bit of belly and a little thick on the thick side, you are breathtaking. We are all uniquely and exquisitely designed, and every inch of us is a celebration of our ancestors and our heritage. Our skin tones are not a source of division, but a source of pride and unity. We must cherish and embrace all that we are, for we are indeed also beautifully designed. I want to thank my opinionators and also want to thank my guests, Nyla Symoneee and Rhea. Can y'all drop y'all social media so everyone can find you?
By the way, this is good. At Nyla Symoneee, NYLA SYMONEE.
Yes, love it. Love all the opinions. Keep them coming. And it's your girl Rhea at RIA5. Rhea 5.
Each and every one of you has an opinion and it matters. Or maybe it doesn't. I pray regardless that this conversation opens you up to more than your opinion. I'm Jahze Yvette and I'll see you next episode on Too Many Opinions.